No, he's talking about the people on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
As a joke. So the DSP posted it, and they said, some of us didn't get the memo.
Right.
Like, that's it. And then somebody had, I think we're trying.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
Somebody had.
6:30, drop time to get started.
How's your day
Did
been?
you
Pretty
hear
good?
from William? I
No
didn't hear.
complaints. What about you? Good?
Yeah, you did.
We got a mask up again.
Didn't William?
Went by his house.
Okay. Didn't get any.
I didn't hear that he went with that.
Neither.
Oh, good, did you?
Hey, that's out.
That's fine. Oh, okay.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay, during the public hearing? Yeah.
I'm almost positive you did, but I could be wrong.
I think we'll have a quorum.
We got a quorum.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to call the August 9th Jacksonville Planning Commission to order. It's 6:30 something. And this time, let's see, opening remarks. What we're going to be, one thing that we're going to discuss back in announcements, and I want to kind of keep in the back of your mind, is Jimmy and Melissa have done a great job in highlighting, and you've seen this ordinance before you. What they've highlighted is what's going to be changed, and I'll kind of go through it when we get to that particular point, but understand that it's going to make less calls for us for conditional uses and things like that, because it'll be just a, no-brainer moving down, like from an R2 and whatever, moving down. So, or rezones.
Not everybody got that.
That's yours.
Oh, not everybody got this?
I put that in your packet
Oh.
because that was from the meeting you missed.
All right, well,
I thought
I'll be,
I thought you might want to see it.
we will have a good discussion on this whenever we get to that particular point. I'm sorry, everybody. I thought,
Billy needs one of those.
That.
I just got informed not
This came
everybody
from
got
the-
this, so I'll,
This came from the meeting he missed.
Oh, okay.
Y'all got it previously.
Okay.
I'm just playing catch-up. Right, so we'll do that during announcement time, just want to make that clear. And I don't have any other announcements at this particular time, so would you go ahead and call the roll?
Councilmember Deeds,
Here.
Commissioner Montgomery, Commissioner Hall.
Here.
Commissioner Moore,
Here.
Commissioner Brittenham. Commissioner Twitty,
Here.
Commissioner Brown, Commissioner Boland,
Here.
Chairman Stroud.
Here.
I have 2 absent, sir.
All right, so we've got a quorum, and at this time, just look over your minutes. Already before you, you have a sheet of paper where it just needs one correction. Anybody have any other additions, corrections, or deletions to the minutes that been typed up? Any input? Hearing none, entertain a motion to accept the minutes as submitted. Oh yeah, by the way, this is 2 meetings, by the way. You guys know that, right?
So moved.
Yeah, we just need one motion, though.
Okay.
Second.
That's like hitting 2 and 1. Good job, guys. Oh, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There we go. It's all passed. All right, moving on to the public hearings. I'd like to open the public hearing. We got a rezoning of parcel located east side of Old Highway 67. That's out on Tonyville Road. It'll be a rezone from a C3 to an R8. And the petitioners are David and Karen Gibson. And open the public hearing at this time. Anybody here to speak to that issue? David and Karen Gibson? You're David Gibson?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead and state your name and address.
David Gibson, 1818 Cofelt Road, Jacksonville, Arkansas.
Great deal. Okay. This time, just give us a kind of a overview of what you want and why we as a commission should consider moving from a commercial and putting it into a residential. You know, what you really wanting.
We're looking to get it rezoned. We're wanting to put in a about a 40 space RV, overnight RV park. Not mobile homes, but just RVs, and make it very nice, for our retirement.
Okay.
And that's our homes adjacent to the property, and we'll live right there by it.
Okay, all right.
And so,
So you say you live beside the property there?
well, we live on, also have an acre that adjoins it on the side of Colfelt Road.
Yeah.
And so it's from the other side, but all the property joins, it joins from this side.
Yeah, kind of like where that arrow that says outside city limits, that little, it's a kind of a straight line between there and Colfelt Road?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, kind of.
We're on Colfelt Road, and we have an acre that goes to, it'd be on the side, opposite side of the pond,
Okay,
where the pond is in Colfelt Road.
all right, okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, any commissioners got any questions?
I have a question, Mr. Gibson. The 1 acre there that's joining Colfelt Road, is that going to be, are you planning an access to get to that property, or are you solely going to be on the
No,
other
it'd
side?
just be on that, on Tonyville.
Okay.
side.
And as far as the, what kind of pads are you going to have once an RV pulls in there? Are they going to be concrete, asphalt pads, kind of in the front?
Well,
of
we
the-
were thinking that, but we've been studying and looking them over, and a lot of them said they preferred, a lot of the RVers said they preferred not having, concrete. And so we're looking at maybe asphalt or,
Yeah.
maybe gravel, but,
Yeah.
we're meeting with an engineer tomorrow,
Okay,
in fact, or Thursday, for him to, we've got a little drawing my wife did, but we're having an engineer, if you guys approve it, we're gonna meet with him Thursday and have him draw up everything and tell us what all we need to do.
Okay. What about wastewater facility for the RVers to empty into if they need
Yeah,
to, or?
There's not a sewer out there, so I have well, my nephew owns his own plumbing company, and we're looking at purchasing a facility that will, do
Yeah.
its own,
Mhm.
have its own system, and I've already looked in at
I see.
purchasing. One of
Okay.
those, about $50,000, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to dig mine for my RV out in my country. So I know what's involved there, and I just want to make sure that if they were going to be dumping, that they would be dumping into a controlled
No, it'll be
wastewater.
on property that we plan on.
Okay.
We're not planning on moving, so it's something that we very want to
Okay.
take really good care of,
Very
We
good.
want to make it nice for our grandchildren as well.
Good, very good. Thank you.
All right, commissioners, got any other questions? Question, comments?
I have one.
Okay.
And what he said was overnight RV parking, which is fine with me, but I don't want to see another long-term, where they come in there and stay for months at a time. I'm afraid it would look too much like a mobile home park that you said it wouldn't be.
Well, yeah, we don't want it to be a mobile home park at all. We're not looking for that at all. We're hoping to kind of, maybe do something that'll attract people from the air base and that kind of thing,
A plus in your side to me would be you live there so close, you can keep a close eye on it.
Oh, we're right beside the property,
Okay. All right. Anybody else?
That
Commissioner?
was my question. Billy asked it. I was just kind of curious. They're just overnighters or long-termers. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. All right, hearing nobody. Okay, speaking for. Is there anybody here to speak against the issue? Thank you very much. All right, do I have anybody to speak against the issue? Okay, let me close the public hearing at this time. All right, commissioners, before us, we've got, to move it from a C3 to an R8. And you've heard, you know, the questions, comments. You know, it is a factor, very good point that Jim Moore brings up. We hold poor Aaron's feet to the fire half the time for sewer and water with all this stuff. And so, you know, he is responsible for the sewer. And he said that he's going to take care of that. So this time I would ask Melissa or Jimmy, you guys have spoken with him and everything. Are you okay with all this?
Yes, this is just the rezone at this point. They'll have to come back another step for the site plan approval.
Yeah.
And that'll be taken care of during the permitting process. Yeah, but they won't have to come back to us, right?
No.
Yeah, it'll be through. Okay. All right. With that answered, entertain a motion at this time.
A motion to approve?
Okay, got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Got a second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, so it's approved, all right? Okay, moving on to the next item, it's a request to approve a plat. This plat we looked at back at sketch phase, what was that, two times ago? About 2 meetings ago?
2 months ago.
Yeah, 2 months ago. All right, it'll be a preliminary plat for Green Hills Estates. Petitioner be Arkansas Homes and Rentals, represented Bond Engineering. That'll be Aaron. Aaron, would you come up here and speak with it to us at this time?
Yes, sir. So this is the, y'all saw this in a sketch plat, and we took some of your comments, got some more access onto Jessica Lane, and this is the final product. Is basically what you see behind or in front of you. We've gotten, we haven't gotten the health department approval yet. We were supposed to get something last week. We've gotten sewer department approval. Brett was off last week, so I didn't get to ask him about the water, whether or not water approved it at their last meeting. And the only other thing that we're talking to Melissa about is the northern part of this property being in the floodway. We were going to basically get our borrowed dirt from that area, and so she wants us to do a no-rise certificate in the floodway and in the floodplain. So I've reached out to Mr. Bernie Auld, which does all of those and has done several for the city and around the city. And as soon as he gets me that information, I'll give it to the city. There should be no rise because all we're doing is taking dirt out. We're not putting anything in. So it's all the dirt's coming out of the floodway. Nothing. We don't ever fill in the floodway. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, you guys have been busy. We moved a lot of trees. They're out there working right now. So,
yeah, right now they're clearing trees. We did a rough topo, but it was just so wooded and so overgrown, I couldn't really get back in the back northern part of it to figure out where that base flood elevation contour line is. So we've got them not going all the way to the ditch, but they're gonna go about halfway from the northern lot lines, about halfway back, and they're gonna clear all those out. And then we're gonna go back in and re-topo it.
okay. I thought it dropped off faster than what it does myself when I first looked at it, when I was out there. But now it goes back a little bit.
Yeah, it really doesn't drop off that fast.
Yeah. Okay, Commissioners, you got any thoughts or comments?
What size homes are you putting in on this?
They are duplex homes, and they are right at 2,000 square foot heated and cooled.
2,000 for both of them, 1,000 each?
1,000 each.
All 67 lots duplexes?
All 67 lots duplexes.
That seems a little bit troubling. Didn't we, I don't know, Commissioner, didn't we talk about that? That was a biggie sticking point, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know, I wasn't here, but you have to remember, this property is not annexed into the city. When we annex it, we're going to request the proper zoning. There are duplexes all over Bellevue.
All over is a little much.
Have you been out there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
they're
30
all over.
there's
They're
30
not concentrated in one area. They're spread out.
Well, Bellevue Subdivision Road and that other road that comes off Witherly, there are 30 there. I did
Right.
count them. That's an apartment. There's one apartment down there too, right?
I don't know about the apartment.
Yeah, it's got a big 4 apartment there. So there are, in that back side, you're right, there are a lot of duplexes. But wouldn't you say that from the, like lot 10, all the way on that side to Reba Lane, and then down to the Bellevue subdivision, everything that abuts that is single family houses, right?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, well, I just, yeah, all right.
But, and once again, we're trying to get all this to be the proper zone to allow duplexes, whether what's south of it, what's east of it, what's west of it, that's irrelevant. I mean, if we can get the proper zoning, this meets all your zoning code as far as that zone goes. Now, if it was zoned R1, we'd be in a different situation. We would have to be going before you to ask for a rezone in order to do this. But with this not being in the city limits and getting annexed and requesting the zone, I know, I talked to Jimmy. Jimmy said, you know, they would like it to be R1. Well, that's just not what my clients want. They don't want R1.
Well, okay, well, that's
And
fair
we
enough.
understand there's certain things that can and can't happen until it gets annexed and gets rezoned and everything else. But, and they take that, I guess, that onus of if they go ahead and develop all of this and try to come into the city with the annexation and the proper zoning, and the city council says, no, we're going to zone it R1 if you want to annex it, and they built the infrastructure, then you would have to go back to an R1, and they would be single-family houses, and they understand that. But right now, their request is to try and do duplexes on all 67 lots.
Right, and that's what that's kind of the point I made when we started out. Initially, when it came to sketch, that's the one thing that I believe I kept impressing, and I hope he took away. Well, I wanted to make sure he took away is that the R2 idea was not what we wanted.
But it doesn't matter what you want.
No, it does matter if what we want is
If it's not in the city, it only matters if it's not zoned properly. Then you have a say, but right now, they're going to annex it and ask for the zoning. If they don't get the zoning, then there's what do we really want to do with this?
Now, here's how it does matter, is that everything over there is R1. Now, because somebody put duplexes in R1s, that's a problem of another area that we could talk about. But it wouldn't behoove us, and that's the point we made to your representative that came last time, was it wouldn't behoove us to say, oh, well, because we put a few duplexes in R1, duplexes in R1, now the rest of it needs to be R2. We wanted to make clear that we didn't want to have the load, the density back there that would make these two streets overcrowded. And true enough, I have driven that Bellevue area and the other one, and there are cars parked on the streets. There's a little, what do you call it, a pop-up type tent with a car that's in pieces they're working on out in the middle of the street. That's not conducive to what we would. So it does matter. That's my point. We told them at Sketch that it does matter. That's just too dense.
We disagree.
Okay, I agree. All right, commissioners, who have any other thoughts or comments?
Well, the thing that bothers me is if I kind of disagree with putting all this number of duplexes in here, because we haven't changed the zoning yet. What's the guarantee that because it's outside the city limits, that they'll go ahead and build duplexes on it? They're already started clearing the place.
And what do you per se think they're going to build out there?
Huh?
What do you think they're going to build out there?
Duplexes.
But you just
But
said
you're gonna come,
worried they
you're
may
gonna come
not.
back after they decide and request a zoning. And so what zoning are we gonna give it? It's like you're putting the cart before the horse, the way I understand it.
Well, I see it as, if we don't hold the line here, and they want to hook up to our sewer system and our water system, they're going to hook up to it with what we are allowing this plat to go at. No, I mean, if we believe, and as we talked last time, we believe that the city is better suited with this being, and I'll even say mostly R1. Because true enough, there has been wrong, there are duplexes back there. They're not supposed to be, right? But just because it was wrong in the past don't mean we're saddled with that. And I know we'll agree to disagree there. I understand that. But I'm looking at it from a planning idea for down the road. What's already there in duplexes is not good for the city. It's just not.
You really don't want to go on record with that, I don't think.
Well, I am saying that for the city, that's not
I think
conducive.
any growth in the city is good. You might disagree, but any growth in the city of Jacksonville is good for the city of Jacksonville, period. End of statement.
I disagree.
Oh, no.
It's almost like saying a tumor's healthy. I mean,
If you meet all the rules that are in your book and everything is met, then how can you say that?
but
no
this
growth
doesn't
is
really
bad?
meet all the rules that are in the
It
book,
meets
because it's not
every-
R1, which is mostly around.
It's not
there.
zoned. You can't argue the fact that it's not zoned correctly because it's not zoned, period.
I'm just
If
telling
this,
you what it's.
theoretically, this is in the county, correct?
Right, yeah.
So I could go to Pulaski County Planning Commission and give this to them, and they're gonna go, well, you need to go before Jacksonville because you're hooking into their sewer system.
Right.
But they're not gonna not say this is bad for the city or for the county. They're not, it's a very negative statement to say this is bad for the city. That's not my personal opinion as Aaron Robinson, not Aaron Robinson Bond Engineering, but Aaron Robinson. That's just not the persona that we want in Jacksonville. Well, this is bad, this is terrible. We gotta figure out a way to make it work. So what I was saying is
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we didn't hear what I said earlier. If this was R1, you would approve it, right?
I
I think we all agree that this meets all the criteria. Well, no, maybe it doesn't.
It would meet
It's really
all the
close.
criteria for our
1A.
Yeah. So if we were to bring it in as R1A, which is all single family, I don't think this would be up here. It's because we got duplexes, which, we don't want trash. Duplexes brings in bad riprap.
never said trash.
No,
I said density.
well, but cars on the street, a 10.
That's density.
That's not density. That's code enforcement not doing their job.
You might
But
not want that on record.
what I'm saying is, if this gets annexed into R1,
Yeah.
I believe, and I'll clarify with my clients, because if it doesn't, there's nothing that says they have to develop it, but they're wanting to develop this. And so if the city council says, no, it has to be R1A, it can't be R2, then they're willing to go ahead and go with this layout and meet everything that it meets. I think that's the disconnect. They want duplexes. That is what they want. But they're willing to move forward if the city council says, no, we're not gonna annex this per your request.
Oh,
But if
so
the city
you're all right.
council-
So you're great then. What we'll do is just go ahead and say that we'll approve it with an R1A, and the city council will approve what we said, and everything will be happy.
Yeah, don't you wish it worked that way?
Yeah, I do kind of wish it worked
I
that way.
think we, according to Pulaski County, we have the authority as a planning commission to
I need you
decide.
on mic.
Huh? I'm sorry.
We have, in accordance with Pulaski County, has given us the authority to do anything in Pulaski County that's within a mile from our city limits.
Mile or 5?
It's a
Mile or
mile.
5?
Yeah.
A mile, okay.
Yeah, it's a mile, because we did the Dollar General store out at Macon. And so I think we can decide, because why go to the Pulaski County? Because they've given the cities, municipalities, the authority to approve things within a mile,
Right. And we've
or
already- yeah.
disapprove.
And-
Yeah, that's your ETJ.
Huh?
Your ETJ, your extraterritorial jurisdiction is 1 mile.
Yeah. Yeah. So Pulaski County would just say, well, you're within a mile, y'all do what you want to do.
Yeah, and I'm not, again, let me just make this clear, is that there are places for R6, and there's places for R3s. I'm not saying that, and I even explained that to your representative here last time, is that normally whenever you build out and you run out of land, you build out, normally in the back is where you put your R1s, and then closer to your streets and your connector streets are your duplexes and your apartments. This is inverted of what I'm used to as a planning commissioner seeing built. We're loading and putting all the density back in the back of a huge subdivision, and then expecting all that to pour out through 2 streets now. That's where, I'm not negative, I'm just trying to be realistic
But
about.
it meets code.
Okay.
2 streets meets code.
I agree with.
The other
yeah.
problem is with that so much of that northern part being in the floodway and undevelopable, they've lost all that land. And granted, if they were able to extend the street and do something in the floodway, then the density wouldn't appear so much. But if you go off the density based off of the actual land, it's not as bad as what you think. Anyway, I mean,
Well, it's cordoned off in the far corner. That's what makes it difficult. If this piece of property would be located, let's say that it would, you're backed up against Loop Road over there. If this would have been because you're backed up against Loop Road against single-family houses. If those single-family houses would have been there, this would have been backed up against Loop Road, whole different story and whole different idea. Where I would be asking you about saying, well, okay, the lots that are on the right hand of your property, why don't you make those duplexes and then the rest of the houses single-family? In other words, I've never said anything different ever since I've been a planning commissioner. And I've always believed that if you wanted to have apartments and duplexes and things like that, then there are places for them. But this doesn't seem, and it's just me, right? I'm just asking commissioners for input too. I'll stop talking, but to me, this seems just backwards. So, like I said, commissioners, I'll stop talking. If you have any input, now's the time. Or questions for Aaron?
Going once.
It doesn't sound.
Huh?
I haven't changed my mind, so I can't do this because of the density also. I live in a subdivision where cars are parked on the street and they're not supposed to be on these small streets. This is going to be a problem for these people that have houses back in here, traffic-wise. Because now you're going to have not only 2 cars possibly at a house, you're going to have 4, maybe 6 at these duplexes. They're going to be tearing down cars in the street. There's no control when you have duplexes like you would in a subdivision. I mean, that's the way I look at it. I'm a subdivision guy myself. And we've got duplexes over here on the left that are mixed in with R1 or R1A, whichever it is. I think there's an apartment there. I think I remember seeing it.
Bellevue in the corner?
Yeah, Bellevue. And I've inspected a lot of those places over in there, and they are not kept up. They're duplexes. They're not kept up.
Well, one of them burned down, the
Yeah,
far corner.
and it's still
Half
there.
a house.
It looks
I'm a little cautious about approving the plat when this may not be the one.
And another piece of information for commissioners, we don't want to hurt them and deny, because if we did, he couldn't come back with a year. So if we come up with anything different or try to align this with what we said at sketch, the better motion for him would be to table. Am I right?
Or council could, commission could table it pending whatever.
Yeah, so it would be better for him, because if we were to deny this outright, he would be stuck back for a whole year. That would be unacceptable, sure, right?
Well, here's my other question. What if, I get Peterson Engineering to do a traffic study to show you exactly, I mean, I can give you both, I can have them do both scenarios, one where that's all duplexes and one where it's all single family, and they can give you exactly the numbers, what it would look like, the density, what the road should be. I mean, they'll provide all that information. And I can give that to you for the next, well, I'll give it to Melissa and Jimmy. But, you know, we could have that for the next planning commission meeting.
So let me ask a question, and we'll think about what he just said. So if we were to approve this plat tonight, what transpires after that? Where do we go from there? Where do y'all go from there if we approve this plat tonight?
If you approve it, they will start the annexation process.
Okay?
And I don't know when they will start the roads and streets, or the roads and the infrastructure part of it. I don't know if they're wanting to start like tomorrow, or if they're wanting to start January of next year. You know, I really don't know the answer to that question. But if you approve it tonight, we start the annexation process.
Okay. And you can also do the traffic study, get that accomplished?
Yes, and it takes, I mean, and it takes 3 months now to do an annexation.
Okay.
So just keep that, just food for thought.
All right, Melissa, Jimmy, you guys got anything?
He is correct that they've met code or requirement.
Melissa, can I get you on mic? Thank you, ma'am.
They are good on code, on our requirements. We have a few contingencies. As Aaron mentioned, the no-rise certificate, the floodplain development application. The Water Commission did not have a board meeting in July, so their next meeting is August 25th. And the drainage needs to be final reviewed, but everything looks good there. So, but as he said, 3 months to do the annexation. We've got plenty of time to work through these contingencies, but we would need those on record.
Okay.
Did we get anything from the fire marshal or fire chief?
Talked with the fire marshal today, and he's good.
He's good?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they've changed this outlet to where they line up with Reba Lane, and the roads line up real well now,
Yeah.
where they weren't before.
Yeah.
It was just one shot in before.
Yeah.
But wastewater hasn't said anything yet?
Wastewater has approved.
Oh, they have?
Yes.
Okay. And water has approved?
Water will meet August 25th.
Oh, okay.
But they've got the markups, they've gone back and forth, everything's good, it's just a matter for the commission approval.
Okay. All right. Commissioners, have any other questions or comments or thoughts right now?
Can we not table this until we get the information Aaron was talking about, the difference of duplexes and single family?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, Mark.
Oh, Mike. Yeah.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Mike Deeds.
Yeah.
I'm on Zoom, sorry. Okay, I'm just gonna interject a little bit here for them. I'm real familiar with this property that I had, and that's why I haven't said anything, that I had it for 3 or 4 years and know all about the property itself, and was involved when Bellevue was developed for the last single family residences. So my question is, what happened was on that, it was single family residency, and then it was changed. It's been quite a few years ago, 20 plus years, to allow the duplexes at the backside of it, because it was the most feasible use for the land. So being that Jacksonville is in dire need of single family residencies, in the 11 to 1,300 square foot range, is there any way that they, that we could look at something and they might be able to split this into 2 phases when they bring it back, like the first phase there, which would keep it across from Bellevue where the houses are, to be, single family, and then have the other ones in the duplex. Reason being, it's like he's saying, the 30F is gonna be really hard to do anything with. As we know, to build in a floodplain, you have to be minimum 2 feet above the floodplain because of the cost. So you got lot 30, and the 30F probably entitles onto it, legs on, which is basically to keep it where they're trying to keep it out of the floodplain, that somebody would have that and maintain it. That was just a question I had. I like the idea of having it annexed into Jacksonville. I really like the idea of having the property tax and everything, and, you know, duplexes, can be beneficial. You know, they put them on Stamps Road in some of the areas. The management company's taking care of them, but, I was hoping we could develop this into some single family also, because, you know, we desperately need it in Jacksonville, but that's what I would say. But I am real familiar with the land, and it does tail off a little, but not much.
All right, Aaron, you got some input to that? Because he's kind of proposing something to do with kind of splitting it up.
Well, and so what I was gonna do is I was gonna go ahead and request that y'all table it so I can get some of these items marked off. But this middle road right here, this is kind of what I was gonna go back to my clients and ask. This middle road is kind of the dividing point. It's roughly half of them are north, half of them are south. So what I was thinking about doing was going back and asking them if they would mind doing like half of it R1A and the other half R2. And just see what they say. And then I can bring that back and let y'all know when I have the traffic study information and everything else.
Right.
So that'd get us, that'd get us 30 roughly single family lots and 30 roughly duplex lots.
Okay.
Yes.
But yes, I will do that. And when you were saying, you know, if we could split it up, that kind of just dawned on me. I'm like, well, we can, I mean, I don't mind asking if we table it for 30 days of, hey, you know, if we do half and half, that's more appeasing to you all, and would that work?
Okay, all right. Commissioners, what do you think about that idea?
I like the idea, and I like the idea of the annexation of the property. We need to annex property that's sitting out there not doing any good.
It's funny because Jacksonville's all around it, I think.
Yeah.
But it's touching our property, basically, and they just don't have the services, but that also brings in revenue for the water, you know, for electric and sewer, which is a great deal. You know, you add new areas on, and, you know, new lines, and it helps us because you've got new services there, which is a benefit to the city. And I agree, we need more revenue. We need more lots, single family and properties for people to live in Jacksonville. So I like that of it.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, we got 2 likes, but we haven't got any motion.
What are we making a motion to table?
All right, got a motion to table. Do I have a second? Second. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, the motion is tabled. Thank you very much, Aaron, for working with us tonight. And going on to, we don't have any building permits, so you have last time got a, from Melissa, and again, they did a great work on this. There's an ordinance that proposing to kind of eliminate a bunch, well, you can tell Melissa, you want to eliminate a bunch of conditional uses, a bunch of things that doesn't necessarily need to come to us, and it's well laid out, and you want to explain what the idea is?
We're basically trying to lighten the load of all the conditional use requests. Because typically, you look at stepping down in a zone. I always know which way I'm going, I'm not sure which way I'm saying.
Yeah, from R6 to R5 is okay,
Yeah,
R5 4.
Go down.
Yeah. And that was taken out of our code in 1995, I believe.
2005.
No, that's what we thought, but it's 1995.
Oh,
It's
really?
the ordinance.
Further back.
And so, obviously, it was just assumed that we were still working that way, but if you follow the code by the letter, and I'm kind of a logical thinker, so I try to follow it by the letter, we now have all these contingencies when people come up. If you have an R1 wanting to build in an R2, by the way our code is written, that would require a conditional use permit. We should be able to just step down and do that at staff level without burdening the planning commission with that. And that's what we're shooting for with all those yellow marks.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, it's not a blanket where everything is just a step down. In other words, if you go to an R3 or an R4, it's not everything down. It'll be, and you'll notice on your packet, it just says any permitted use R01 and R1A and an R4, but as a conditional is an R2 and an R3.
Right.
So,
because R2 is so specific that that's duplexes.
right.
So when we had a specific use, we kept that in conditional, just to maintain some sort of
Yeah.
control.
Right.
Control may not be the right word, but just to be able to maintain some consistency.
And then when we went over to commercial, it was kind of the same feature. You
Right.
didn't want to put, like, there was any permitted use, like a C1, it would be an R0, 1, and 1A, but not an R2, 3, or 4, that's still a conditional. And then when you went to C2, you noticed that there's not a C1 in the conditional, the C1 is up here underneath the C2, so it doesn't just blanket step like that. I think they've done a good job about picking what is logical and what needs to come as conditional. So this has been a very well written and researched piece of.
I think it prevents a lot of, because we've issued a lot of the conditional uses before, it's been violated quite heavily
Yeah.
in Jacksonville. And I drove by some the other day that are violating the conditional use. One of them we gave here recently, and it's being violated. Code enforcement needs to pay a visit, or maybe you guys do, because y'all issue the permit. Wrecked cars sitting out there beside the building. So, I'll tell you about it. I won't call that any
Give me an
names.
address.
Okay, all right, then,
I like that.
that's under announcements. Really, I think what they kind of want is feedback from y'all about what do you think, right?
Right. We just wanted, since this all comes before y'all on a monthly basis, it's got to be changed by ordinance, so we'd have to send it to the council. We didn't want to just send it straight to the council, because you folks are the ones dealing with it every month.
So, it would be helpful to get a motion to,
Kind of streamlines the process, I guess.
That's what we're shooting
It's
for.
kind of streamlines, yeah.
That's what we're
Yeah.
shooting for.
yeah.
It streamlines everything. I think they worked hard, it looks good.
Sure.
We're usually, a lot of us are in compliance with it, they go down. And I think it saves us a lot of effort extra to bring it back to us when we could go ahead and make a decision, and they could.
Okay, so anybody want to make a motion that we approve this?
Recommend adoption.
Recommend adoption. Man, that's.
I'll make a recommendation to adopt the new rules and regulations.
And send to the city council.
And send to the city council.
And send it to the city council.
Okay, got a second to that?
Second.
Got a second and to make a motion to what Mike just said, and a second. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Okay, good to go. All right, is there any other
Thanks
announcements?
for doing that.
Any other announcements? Okay, call this meeting closed.
Thank y'all.